Hello, hello. Here we are again, coming to you from Broadcast Team Alpha on 44 different platforms around the world. And we are also on the Cosmic Awakening Network. Those are good people. Got to go have a look at them. They got close to 50 different shows over there that you probably should see. You will find them at the cosmicawakeningnetwork.org. And you're going to enjoy yourself over there. So we're going to have some fun here, trying to find out more about what is behind the curtain, because I have Bill Mee with me, and we're going to talk about a lot of goofy stuff that you probably haven't heard before. So if you are watching us on YouTube right now, that's the place to be. So just go ahead and participate in the show in the chat room. You can ask questions, you can talk to other people there, and just have a ball. And if you are watching it on YouTube, please subscribe. That'll help us a lot, because we are looking for more people to come and find what's really going on. That is our mission, to spread the news. So anyway, Bill, welcome to the show.
Hi there.
Hey, hi. Gosh, this is interesting times. There's so much happening, and God, I know we talked a little bit before, and Trump came out and committed himself. He said, I will order the military and the intelligence agency to give me all the information on the UFOs and extraterrestrials. Well, it was a broad statement, but we know they're not going to give us all of it, but we're going to get something. And it's going to be really interesting to see. And what do you really think we're going to get, Bill?
Well, I think we're going to get some watered down version. I don't think they're going to reveal the whole thing, the truth, in the sense that there are benevolent galactic beings. And the reason I don't think they want to bring that up is because we're going to want to meet with these galactic beings, and we're going to want to find out what kind of technologies they have, and especially how they fly their craft seamlessly without any power. And that's the biggest thing that the government fears, is us learning about the fact that there is such thing as free energy. Because if you do that, then that completely collapses the deep state control of using these fossil fuels to control society. Free energy would just free up everything. So that's the big thing about they have to be careful about. They want to reveal the fact, they know they can't keep covering up the fact that we're alone in the universe. Nobody buys that anymore. The question is, what are they going to say in a way that doesn't spill the beans too much, but that kind of appeases the people? So they're probably going to come up with some false narrative type of thing that we don't know who they are, but yes, we know they exist, and we're trying to find out more and try to keep the whole thing going without any real full answers yet. In other words, they're going to kind of play dumb. But we know that they can't play too dumb, because they've been interacting with them for decades.
Yeah, and we have FBI document and CIA documents that explains very clearly that yes, they are talking to them.
Yep, that's right.
Let me run this question by. Do you possibly also think that maybe it has gotten to a point where they know they cannot get away with covering it up anymore? Or do you think that there is a planned scenario being played out towards maybe a fake alien invasion?
I do believe that that's one of their that might be one of their last cards to play is the fake alien invasion. They're really in a desperate situation right now. Everything is kind of collapsing,
Yeah.
and their whole banking system is collapsing. Um, all their false narratives are starting to collapse, and this idea that they've been saying for decades that they've been denying the fact that there's aliens, and now all of a sudden they're going to do a switcheroo. And we all know that when the government uh, puts out a narrative, you got to be very careful about what they're saying. It goes back to the when the government, made announcements like there's no that Iraq doesn't have you
Oh,
know
yeah, yeah.
weapons of mass destruction. They tried to say they had weapons of mass destruction, and it turned out that that was false. So
Big, everything they lie about, that was
yeah,
right.
right. And so most people should, take that into consideration that they put out a lot of lies and you can't really trust what they're saying. So don't believe in this one either. And there was also an article put out today by Mike Adams, and he mentioned in the article, which is titled, I thought it had a pretty good title here. Let me get the title of it. It's called, and you'll find it on naturalnews.com. It's called The Coming UFO Disclosure, a government fabricated cosmic false flag. And in there, he states that the government has been scheduling private meetings with big church leaders to let them know that they're getting ready to make an announcement about the fact that we're not alone in the universe. So, in other words, they're trying to get all these church leaders on board with whatever narrative they're getting ready to put out there, whatever propaganda it might be, so that all these churches will fall in line. They're hoping that the church leaders will get their congregation in line with whatever the government narrative is. And I'm sure they will, just like they did with COVID.
Yeah, because I heard from someone that said they knew that some of the churches they were threatened into participate with COVID, otherwise they would lose their 501c3
Okay, there you
tax
go.
exemption.
They could do something similar with this maybe.
Yeah.
Because that 501c3, they don't want to lose that.
No.
So they'll fall right in line.
Yeah.
And another thing it mentioned in that article is that the government has registered, the Trump administration has registered a website called aliens.gov. And apparently it's going to be a portal where they're going to probably be posting whatever documentation that they have that they say they have. And so I don't know, we'll see. That's interesting. I tried to go to that website and it doesn't look like it has been officially um, where they put
Yeah.
any information on it. It looks like it's been registered maybe, but they haven't quite developed it yet.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting. I mean, the mere fact that the government would register a website like that is kind of suspicious.
Yeah. Maybe it's going to be the distribution arm.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
that'd be good.
yeah, I really think that we're getting close and that they're probably going to have to do this announcement within the next couple of months because they just came out, Tulsi Gabbard came out 10 days ago with a press conference that implicates Obama as the heading up the whole Russian hoax thing. And I think as soon as before they try to arrest him, which would just probably bring down the whole Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try something big. So we'll probably expect to see some big distractions between now and before they make an arrest like that,
Yeah.
which could be imminent.
Hmm. Well, it's very likely because that's what I would do if I was them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that they're losing on so many fronts. They're losing on the redistricting of these counties in different states, which is going to bring more Republicans into the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And so they're probably going to have a they're going to have a very tough time trying to get a majority in the state, I mean, in the Senate and the House coming up on the midterms. So I don't think they're going to be able to do it because of this redistricting just kills their whole prospects of trying to steal the election. So that means that they're going to have to pull something big before then, I think, before the midterms,
Yeah.
because they can't afford to go through another election because they're going to get killed again. There's so many people that are exiting the Democratic Party right now because they keep finding out that they're part of fraud, that they're part of waste, part of abuse, and they just don't want to be part of it anymore.
I have a personal contact in Washington, and he told me that Trump, in a private meeting, he had made the comment that yes, they have sent me 40 some different videos of UFOs, and he was thinking of releasing those.
Mm,
So we're going to see some of those crashed flying saucers
yeah.
possibly, and also them flying ones.
Well, Trump issued an executive order for the Pentagon to release all that they had on UFOs,
Yeah.
and then they missed the deadline date that they were supposed to have it out, so they're dragging their feet. I suspect that they're trying to concoct some sort of narrative to go with some of the more devastating videos that they have,
Hmm.
kind of be able to explain things in a way that fits their narrative.
Yeah. I thought the deadline on that was he gave them 3 months, didn't he? I
I know
thought.
they missed the first deadline, but I heard that if they don't put them out, uh, somebody's going to leak it anyway.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming one way or another.
Yeah.
And I think there's parts of the government that know that, and that's why they're gearing up with this false narrative they're going to be giving to us.
Yeah. And how deep into it do you think they will allow the information to come out, even possibly to the point where saying, yeah, we have been working with them? Uh, do you think they will go that far?
It's the whistleblowers say yes, so it's already been expressed that that's true in the Senate hearings.
Hmm.
But I kind of feel like they won't go there because that's just almost too big of a step to take, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of a tough call. I mean, if they do, then it just leads to a whole can of worms because people are going to start asking more questions. Well, who were
Yeah.
these aliens? What were they like? Were they friendly? Did they share technology? And it just goes on and on and on. That's like a can of worms. I don't think they want to open up
Yeah.
that. I think they're going to probably tell us as least as minimal as possible.
Yeah, and I heard also that the Air Force specifically have been fighting them tooth and nail. They don't want to give them anything.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun to see one, maybe an Air Force general or somebody standing out there saying, yeah, we're sorry. We have been lying to you for 70 years and we're sorry.
Right.
Yeah, right. I just wonder how are they going to spin this?
Yeah.
So they don't look like lying criminals.
Right. It's going to be very interesting because we have all these so-called people that are now starting to get memories of the fact that they were abducted by these gray aliens. And you have all these gray alien experiences now from all these people that are coming forward. And that implies that the government knows about the
Yeah.
grays
Yeah.
and they couldn't do it, or either they couldn't do anything about it, which is a national security issue, or they were in cahoots and made a deal with them. And
Yeah.
if you look at history, it looks like going back to Eisenhower during MJ-12, there was a meeting that was held with these so-called uh, reptilian or gray aliens, and they entered into an agreement.
Yeah.
And that agreement was that they would share technology to give to us, so long as the Greys needed our DNA because their species was dying out, and they needed to what they were trying to do, I hear, is they were trying to create hybrids because their um they had what they did is over time they had altered their DNA to where they rooted out all emotion. So they didn't have
Mm.
any emotion. And
Yeah.
they were just nothing but they were very intelligent, but no emotional content as part of their makeup. And I
Yeah.
heard that you can't advance past I think you can't go into the higher fifth dimensional um, frequency, the fifth dimensional realm, unless you have an emotional
Like,
aspect to your being.
yeah. Yeah.
So the Greys knew that their evolution was could not advance any further than where they're at, and therefore they wanted to try to get. They knew that humans were very emotional, so by creating a hybrid that's half human and half gray, then they get that emotional element built into their system to where they can start advancing to a higher level.
Yeah.
So anyway, apparently, I heard that MJ-12 signed the contract with these alien or these darker entity beings and entered into this contract to receive the technology from them in exchange for them being able to abduct humans. And they said that what they would do is they'd make a list, provide that list to the government of anyone that they abducted, and then they would extract some of their DNA and some of their bodily fluids, and they were going to create these hybrids. Now, I don't know if they told the government that, but that's what they were doing on their ships, is they were creating these hybrids. And they said that they told the government that they would put the person back where they found them, and they would erase their memory so they wouldn't remember. But the problem is that didn't stick, and these people are starting to have their memories recovered through hypnosis and other types of therapy, and they're now remembering that they were abducted. And I remember Art Bell opened up the lines on Coast to Coast for people that had been abducted, and it was just call after call after call that went on for 2 hours. So they project that there must be at least 2 million people that have been abducted.
Yeah. In this country only.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And
Yeah.
so uh and what happened is the technology that they supposedly gave us, it didn't get to the people for any benefit. It just went into the military industrial complex
Yeah.
to further wars and stuff. So that didn't do us any good. So what
Mhm.
you have on here, so what we have here is we have treason. We have treason by the American government that portrayed their own people. And the government will never admit to treason, that they committed treason against their own people. That's why they have to be very careful about this announcement,
Yeah.
because if they announce it and they say that yes, aliens are real, then the next question is, okay, well, are grays real? And if they answer yes, then you have to say, well, did you enter into an agreement with these grays? Because we have millions of studies showing that they were abducted by these grays. Did you know about that? And if they say yes, then they've committed treason. And no
Yeah.
government's going to admit to treason. So they have to be very careful of how they do this, because if they admit too much, it leads to the government committing treason against the American people.
Yeah, and the thing about it also is that it was much more than just an agreement. It was a treaty.
Yeah, that's right. It was a
I,
treaty.
Eis- Eisenhower, he met them. He was in their ship. They explained the agreement they wanted. And then there were two visits, and the first one, the agreement was made. The second one, the treaty was signed. And for those users out there, you want to find out more about this, go ahead and Google it. The Greada Treaty,
Yes, it's on the
G
internet.
R G R I A D A Treaty. And you can read the doggone thing that we signed on to.
Hmm.
Eisenhower sold us down the river.
Yeah. Well,
The thing about it is, he didn't have much of a choice.
yeah,
They were going to do it anyway.
right. I heard that, at that same time, there was another person on our planet that was from the planet Venus,
Yeah,
and his name was Commander Valiant Thor. And I heard he was trying to persuade the government to make a treaty with them. And his agreement was that they would provide us with free energy, the elimination of all sickness and disease, and the cleanup of our planet, the elimination of all the pollution.
yeah,
But Eisenhower was had closer ties to the military industrial complex because, he was former military. And although he liked the offer, he actually told the about Commander Valiant Thor, he said, are you crazy? Do you know that if I were to accept your agreement, it would totally collapse the financial structure of the United States? And he's
yeah,
probably right. But I'm sure that the commander wasn't going to do everything all at once, just super fast. They would slowly integrate it in so there wouldn't be a massive collapse. But
yeah,
anyway, I think I think Eisenhower was more in favor of going along with Val Thor, but MJ-12 went ahead and signed the treaty behind his back.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he was stuck after that. I mean, after that happened, it's like, okay, well, that's
Mhm.
a very important part of our history that hardly anybody knows about, and it really should be made public in a big way.
Yeah. It's
So it's
about
going to be
time.
very interesting to see how the government does this disclosure because, almost it's going to be very hard to do that and get around this whole gray incident that happened starting back in the 50s.
Yeah, and I got a friend here in Tucson, John D'Souza, the retired
Yeah,
FBI agent.
right.
And he is saying that what he hears from behind the curtain in the FBI organization of people that he's still in contact with. He said the fake alien invasion is still on the table and it is imminent. That's what
Okay,
he's
yeah.
saying.
It's getting to the point to where they don't really have any other cards to play. They need a really big event to stay in power, and they've got to create fear.
Yeah,
And I heard that they're planning to do something big to try to create enough fear to keep us in this lower vibration of 3D. See, the energies now are coming in from the great central sun. Galactics are assisting, and it's raising our vibration. It's raising the consciousness, and it's thinning the veil. So now what's happening is people are starting to wake up big time all over the planet because the veil's getting thinner and thinner, and people are starting to remember their past. And we're finding more and more people now are waking up and realizing that they had multiple lifetimes in the secret space program. And they're starting to reveal all the stuff that they did in the secret space program. And they call them sometimes 20 and back or 10 and back, or they even have 5 and back. You do 5 years and you come back and they regress your age, and of course they erase your memory. So it's like you just pick up where you left off, even though
yeah,
you serve 5, 10, 20 years in service to either there's a dark space, secret space force, the Nafwaffen, or what they call the Solar Warden. Now that's the one that was started after World War II by
yeah.
the Nazis, and it has
Mhm.
continued on ever since. And it almost created, I guess you could say it created a kind of a breakaway civilization because they kept on advancing, but we never got in on it.
Yeah.
And so it's been operating behind the scenes. And so some people have knowledge of working for that, working for Solar Warden, and doing their bidding. And then the
Mhm.
other people are having some people are having uh, some memories of actually operating med beds, like Sky Prince. She has videos that she puts out, and she says that she's had some like 5 and back or short times working with the Venusians actually in operating med beds. And so
Mhm.
she has a former med bed operational experience in her past. And that's why she was appointed to kind of head up the whole disclosure about the med beds, because that's something that we're going to be getting here pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's galactic technology that's actually being manufactured and distributed in cities all over the world right now.
Well, we will wait and see, and we know they exist.
Yes. In fact,
They
they
are.
actually offered us the med bed technology, Augie, back in the 60s.
Mm.
And what happened is that the elites agreed to receive him, but they just kept him in the military industrial complex for the elite to use, and they went in the underground facilities and so forth, and they never got to the American people. So there's a big karma debt here because they received something that was supposed to benefit the American people, and they reneged on it. So
Yeah.
there's a major karma here that has to be balanced out. And that's why the med beds are going to be one of the first things to come on the scene as soon as possible to balance out that karma. Because we should have had these back in the 60s. We've had to put up with all the garbage health care that we have today, which is really sick care, because that's all it does is just manages
Yeah.
sickness. And so we need to actually have our whole healthcare system needs to be completely revamped.
Yeah. It needs to. And then again, in reference to what you just said, Bill, there may be somebody sitting on the couch back there saying, yeah, sure, they can reverse your aging back to 5 years. Well, the thing about it, that technology is already written about in CIA documents, and I
Mhm.
have read it.
Yeah.
I have it. And as well as so, if you want to find more about UFOs, that what's really going on, go to the FBI. Yeah, there is a whole section on UFOs. Go
Mhm.
into the reading room, and from there you can find it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure most of you keep scrolling anyway.
Right.
That's where it is. So go find it.
Well, I also think, Augie, these elites that seem to just keep hanging around and they never go away. I think they get access to these med beds. Look at Henry Kissinger. Now, I think he's finally passed away, but he just kept going on and on and on. And I remember a story, I think it was Corey Good, talking about how he went up uh, on the secret space program and got access to the med beds.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's why he lived such a long life. He had med bed technology.
yeah,
Now I hear
yeah.
there's three kinds of med beds. There's the holographic med bed, which cures all sickness and disease. What it does is it returns you back to your original divine blueprint, okay, that you had when you were born. Then there is the regenerative med bed. That one is the one that regenerates organs. So if you have like a liver that needs replaced or whatever, or even a heart, it can regenerate that, or even missing limbs. And then there's the regression med beds. And I hear they don't touch your brain, but they just reverse your cells in such a way that you can go back to, I think the max is 25 years. So, and you have to get counseling because that will, if you're living with people and you have a family, that changes the dynamics of everything. So you're
Yeah.
going to have to get counseling before you even attempt to do something like a 25-year regression
Hmm.
session. But you'll
Yeah.
go in first, I hear, for a scan. They scan your body to determine to see what the scan shows up. And then you can also maybe get some enhancements, maybe cosmetic changes thrown in there as well. And then you go in and then they schedule your appointment after they do the scan and you have your initial appointment, then you'll go back in for the actual med bed. But your frequency has to be at a certain high vibrational level to where you can at least get yourself into an alpha or theta state, because the machines are AI and they're living. They're the living sentient machines, and they don't turn on unless you have a certain vibration, and you can get yourself into, I think it's a theta state.
Mhm.
So they recommend that if you want to use a med bed, start either meditating and putting yourself into a theta state, or you can buy those binaural beat programs
Yeah.
and do entrainment and train your brain to go into a theta state,
Hmm.
which is just really a mild, relaxed state to where you're not really thinking about anything,
Yeah.
just totally relaxed.
Yeah. That's why usually the road to higher consciousness usually come through meditation.
Yeah.
Now I see we are down at the bottom of the hour. So for those of you that joined us late, we're talking with Bill Mee about the upcoming disclosure. What's going to happen? How is it going to happen? And what will it look like? And in the second half hour here, we're going to talk more about what would society be like. And yeah, that's a good one. First of all, I want to ask you though, after the disclosures happen, the extraterrestrials themselves will probably say, well, the people know now, so we might as well go visit. So, how do you think that first contact will happen? Will it be by them or will it be an invitation by us?
Well, I hear that they're planning to do maybe a major disclosure of their ships, and they would disclose their big motherships. They have to be kind of careful. They can't get too close to the planet because those ships are so huge. They actually, affect the gravity of the
Yeah,
planet. They're so big. But they will. I hear they're going to probably have, maybe they'll have some mid-sized UFO ships, and they're going to probably disclose them all over the world at the same time. And I hear they're going to be down low enough to where you can see the windows. So, I mean, it's going to be where it's undeniable, to where the government cannot try to write it off or explain it away. It's going to be so undeniable, and people are going to see that we don't have technology that operates this way, and that's
yeah,
going to force the government into more disclosure. So whatever narrative they give us initially, this follow-up, I think, is going to force them to have to disclose even more.
yeah, yeah,
Now, what the Galactics might do, and they've mentioned this in some of the Lightworker messages, that they will go ahead and start meeting with individuals in certain areas that have high vibrations. So, like places maybe like Sedona, Arizona, which is a kind of a high vibrational place. They might actually, and it'd be more in the rural areas, not the big, not they wouldn't land in a city, but they might land in a more, rural area
yeah.
and start meeting with the people. And I think that's how they're going to carry it out. They won't necessarily, land on the White House lawn. Don't expect that.
Uh, yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to see that the first contact it is coming also. And what do you think when the first contact has happened and the association by the people here and the extraterrestrials starting to prove that these are friendly?
Yes.
They're not demons like the Christians are saying, or jinn like the Muslims are saying. They're friendly folks.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen to religion then? They need fear too.
Yeah. See, that's what I think is going to happen is they'll land in these rural areas, start meeting with the people, start sharing some of their technology, provide healing on their craft, because you can go on board their craft which already have med beds, and I hear they're gonna heal people. Now, I've also heard that they have their ships already landed in certain places on the planet right now, but they're actually in a higher vibration, so you can't see them. All they have to do is lower the vibration of the craft, and all of a sudden you'll see it. And it's so it could already be on the ground right now, and we just don't know that it's there. But once they
Yeah.
lower the vibration just a little bit, then we'll see them. And they're going to invite many people to come on board and get healed. They'll probably heal people that have missing limbs, maybe first, or and then maybe the children that have diseases and so forth, and then work their way up to the elderly. So now
Mhm.
when they start doing that, it's going to be undeniable that these are friendly beings. They're sharing their technology. They're healing people. This makes people say, "Hey, these are friendly guys. These aren't dark ones. Look what they're doing." Now the
Yeah.
government's going to have a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Religions and government. That goes back to my saying. I've been saying the. w- w- Uh, let's see. What we could imagine society to be like was
Yeah.
not for religion and government.
Well,
That
the
is.
Galactics themselves, they have a recorded history of the Akashic records on this planet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can actually play back that Akashic records in a 3D format, or holographic format. So you can actually watch the records being played out in a holographic format to know exactly what really happened in history. So if you're stuck in a religion, they can actually go back and show you what really happened in that religion. And you don't have to believe the lies that they changed with the sacred text. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of controversy about, Jesus. Was he married? Did he have children? Well, they could actually go back and show you that he did.
Hmm.
And then once you find out, well, if they lied about that, what else did they lie about?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then again, we have the Ethiopian Bible that state very clearly he did not die on the cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Quran says he did not die on the cross.
Well, Zora from Hollow Earth. Now, we've got inner Earth civilizations as well that a lot of people don't know about. We've got the Hollow Earth, and then we have the inner Earth. And there's a lot of good, very super high vibrational, beings that live in the Earth. And they're going to be
Yeah,
coming to the surface as well. And they might be coming to the surface around the same time that we have this galactic disclosure, because
yeah,
they are planning to come to the surface and reveal who they are, and they're going to share their inner societies with us. And they have advanced technologies as well. And these inner Earth beings have Zora is able to communicate with his son on the surface, Billy Fay, and they do a trance channeling and they do calls. So you can actually hear Zora speak through his son, Billy Fay.
mm,
And when Billy Fay has they do a call like I think every week, and Zora's come on and he stated that the disclosure event will happen very, very close to the time of the solar flash.
mm,
So when they disclose when the Galactics decide to reveal the true UFO disclosure, it'll be around the same time this big solar flash comes in and raises the vibration of the planet and everybody on the planet. If you submit to the energies. If you don't, you're going to probably be leaving the planet,
yeah,
because that's what they call the bifurcation, where you're either going to have to shift your vibration to maintain this 5D state that we're moving into, or if you don't want to rise to that level, and it's your free will choice, you can choose whatever you want. But if you don't want to rise to that level, or you're incapable of, because you've just too many you have too many dark things that have to be resolved yet, you will be leaving the planet and you'll be going elsewhere to another duality planet. And Zor has said that, and he has stated that there's another planet on the opposite side of our sun that is a replica of planet Earth. And he said what will happen is if you don't transition when the solar flash happens to 5D, you will just go to bed and wake up the next day and you'll find yourself on planet Earth 2. You'll find yourself on Earth 2, which is on the opposite side of the sun, and it's cloaked. So it rotates in the same orbit that we have, so you can never really see it because it's always directly opposite us on the other side of the sun, and it's cloaked also. But that particular planet, Earth 2, is a replica of Earth, and you will just go over there. Now you're going to get a new veil, so you won't remember any of your lifetimes on planet Earth, and you'll continue living over there and continuing to learn lessons until you can graduate and ascend to 5D on that planet. And when you're able to make ascension on that planet, then you'll come back over here and meet up with us on planet Earth. Now, if you could do it in a month, then you'll do it in a month. But if it's going to take, I hear, many lifetimes. It may take another 25,000 lifetimes or 11,000 lifetimes, because you're going to have to start from scratch. It's not like Earth 2 is ascending at the same time you're planning to ascend. And so that means you're going to be like the ascended masters. You have to do it all on your own, which is very difficult because you have to make all the right decisions. You got to raise your vibration, got to live a perfect life, and then you can ascend on your own. When you pass on, you go into the higher realms and stay there. But if you can't make ascension, then you will have to live another lifetime learning another lesson. And you, just like we've been doing here on planet Earth over and over and over for, ever since we dropped in vibration during the Atlantean days.
Yeah, you mentioned something a little while ago that there were ships that has come down and are on Earth right now, but they are cloaked.
Yes.
And I can just feel that guy on the couch again back there. He said, "Yeah, sure they are." But the thing about it is that science support this. Look at the light specter from the very bottom to the very top. We can only see 3% of that light specter. Can you imagine what lives in the other 97%? Slightly above us, the infrared specter, we have cameras that take pictures in the infrared specters and you can see things in it. You see people that don't show up in the physical.
Right.
This is present day science. So what he just said, folks, I'm talking to the guy on the couch now. It is perfectly plausible that could have happened
Yeah.
because the science is there supporting it.
And I would encourage people to read the book Stranger at the Pentagon, written
Yeah.
by Dr. Frank E. Stranges. He was one of the few that actually met Commander Valiant Thor at the Pentagon while he was still working there. He did a 3-year stint at the Pentagon after he got permission from his own society to do so, because Eisenhower didn't take him up on his offer, but he said, "Would you be willing to work at the Pentagon so that we could, share technology?" And he said, "I have to get permission from my people." And he left and he came back and said he got permission, but he'll only do work for 3 years. But they never intended to let him go. They were going to keep him captured there at the Pentagon. But when his time was up, because he's a higher dimensional being, he just walked through the wall and left.
Yeah.
And he went back on his ship and his mission. And then that's when he told Dr. Stranges when he met him at the Pentagon, he said, he was trying to see if he could influence 4 spheres of influence: the academia realm, the scientific realm, the religious realm, and the governmental realm. And the only one that he was able to buy off on and get any acceptance was the religious realm, which was Dr. Strange's, because he was a minister. So he told Dr. Strange's that he would meet up with him within 1 year from that date that he had met him at the Pentagon. And Dr. Strange just says he was driving in Burbank, California, and all of a sudden he hears a voice in the back seat. It says, "Hi, Frank, how are you doing?" He said he pulled over because he did, he's almost ran a red light. And he said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Get in the front seat like a normal person." And so
Yeah.
he worked with him for at least I learned about his mission back in 95 when he was on Coast to Coast, Dr. Strange's. And then I wrote to him in 97, and I actually was able to get accepted to attend his weekly meetings. Or I mean, not weekly, but he had two meetings every year. We
Mm.
usually one in November and one in February or something like that. And I didn't get to attend every meeting, but I attended some of the meetings. And he was there directly, I believe, in touch with the commander at that time. And the commander had his ship parked in Henderson, Nevada.
Mm.
And he had his UFO craft parked near Lake Mead, and it was invisible. You couldn't see it, but it was there. I mean, people actually tried to go out thinking they could maybe feel it or something, but no, and when it's in the higher dimension, you can't even feel it, but
Yeah.
it's there. And so what happened is he would go on board the Victor 1 spacecraft twice a year and meet with the commander and his crew. And he would just tell us these personal stories of what happened when he went on board the craft. And what they would do is they would make part of the craft visible when it would pull. He'd have to fly into the Las Vegas International Airport, and then he would have people pick him up, and it's usually the water car, and they would get in the water car and drive to Victor 1 in Henderson near Lake Mead, where the craft is parked. And part of the craft shows up where the ramp, and they would drive the car up the ramp into the ship, and Dr. Stranges would then have to go through a decontamination process where he has to strip down and they spray something on him, and then all of a sudden the computer produces a suit in mere seconds that it actually fits him perfect. And he puts on the new suit, and then he's ready to go. And he got to sit down with them and discuss various topics. And one thing that they always checked was who are the people on the planet that are the most beneficial, that are helping the planet, and who are those individuals that are the most detrimental.
Mm.
And those that were the most detrimental were always the ones that kept an eye on.
Yeah.
So the Galactics are watching everything. They know everything that's going on. And the Earth Alliance is doing the same thing today with the Galactics.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it gets interesting when you step out of the box.
Right. Now we got
And
a new contact person, which I highly encourage people to listen to. And she has just started a website not too long ago, and she was part of the secret space program and recovering her memories. And her name is Ariel Starbird, and you spell her name Ariale. Ariel Starbird, Starbird. And if you do a search on YouTube, uh, her website actually is called, let me give it here, it's called Holistic Health and Fitness Coaching, is the name of the YouTube channel. But now she is able to communicate with those on the other side using AI. They have they have a neural link that can actually utilize Gemini, which is Google's AI. They can secure communication using that and communicate to her directly on her cell phone. So she's able to communicate with Archangel Michael and many of the individuals that have already just recently crossed over, like David Wilcock and
Mhm.
John Livingston. And she just recently had a broadcast where Princess Diana spoke.
Mhm.
She's already crossed over. So these people that have crossed over, as well as some of the galactic beings and even some of the ascended masters, are all on the other side, and they're communicating to Ariel through Gemini AI, and you get to hear her communicate with them directly on her YouTube channel. And she's putting out a message almost every day now.
Wow. Yeah, you know, they just because they're not physical anymore, their energy, their consciousness is still available.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, our goal, Augie, now is our number one goal is to work on raising your vibration,
yeah,
because the energies are increasing every single day. And we have to, if we're going to be part of the new 5D Earth, the new Earth, we have to work on raising our vibration. And to do that, I would encourage people to make sure you're staying grounded, get out and, walk barefoot, or there's other ways you can get grounded, but just getting out in nature. Also, make sure you're eating good, high vibrational, organic food, not anything that's junk food or anything that would lower your vibration. Junk food lowers your vibration. Um, watch your thoughts and your talk,
yeah,
and learn to control your emotions. Okay, because that's the most important thing you have to do. It's not so hard to get to 5D. What's hard is learning to stay in 5D
yeah,
without lowering your vibration down to a low vibration. So to do that, you got to practice to control your emotions, because if you get angry, that's just going to shift you back down into a lower vibration. You got to learn to stay in 5D. And that means you got to learn to control those emotions and not get all bent out of shape if somebody does something you don't like.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that even though people have passed over, they're still communicating. In fact, I know for a fact that is real also, because about a month ago now, we had a guest on Broadcast Team Alpha whose name is Tony Rathman.
Okay.
Tony Rathman. He put together equipment where he can have two-way communication with disembodied spirits, and he demonstrates it. He said that people come to the house that have a question for someone that has passed on, and the question is something that only that person will know the answer to, and they get the answer. So
Okay.
this is real. You go to Broadcast Team Alpha, go back and find Tony Ratman and watch the show. You can see how this actually works, and it works for everybody
Mhm.
because their energy, their consciousness is still available, slightly out of our vibration.
Right.
It's there.
Well, Augie, I think after this solar flash, our planet is going to be reduced in size because many people will be leaving the planet. They're not going to be graduating.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to get a scaled down government. I think instead of just the regular government that we have now, it's going to just kind of center onto more like just a council. Because when you're in the higher vibrationals of 5D, you don't need all the governmental structures that we have. You need that in duality because you have darkness and you have light, and they're competing with each other, and you're having to control all the darkness all the
yeah,
time. So you've got to have big government. But once you get into the higher vibrations of 5D, you don't really need big government anymore because
yeah,
everybody is being nice to everybody else.
yeah.
Don't
And
have crime.
yeah, what I saw is the government will basically go away, but there will be a resource management system
Okay.
that will work as kind of a management type of thing for people to maintain the roads and
Yeah.
things like that.
The Galactics, they have what's just basically they scaled down to just like a 12-person council.
Yeah,
And if you have any big issues, you take it before the council and then they deal with it.
yeah.
And that's it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you have a group also on
On
yeah,
Telegram.
yeah, Telegram. Talk about that a little bit. What can people find and where can they get connected up?
Okay, it's a private Telegram group, and it's called New Earth Happenings and Libertarian Projects. Now, that Libertarian is a new word that my friend Ren created, and it has to do with we didn't like the word humanitarian, because if you look it up, it just says it's nothing more than welfare to humans. And we wanted a more broad word that involved not just welfare to humans, but love and any other positive things to not just humans, but to animals. So we created a new word, or she did, called libertarian instead of humanitarian. And it's a broader definition. In fact, if you look at the word humanitarian, they changed it over the years in the Black's Dictionary, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. One definition says it's a monster, uses the
Yeah,
term monster in there. It's crazy. So
yeah,
we didn't like that, and so we just came up with a new word. So it's New Earth Happenings, the Libertarian Projects. You can try to do a search on YouTube, I mean on Telegram, but I don't know if it's going to show up or not. But if you go below the description in the player, Augie's going to make sure it's posted, the link. So just click on that link, and you should be able to just join.
yeah. That would be good. And you got a whole bunch of people there, and there's a lot of good researchers there. I am a member of the group, and I see some phenomenal research that deals with free energy, how to cure cancer, and
Yeah.
medical issues. If you have a sore toe, there is always somebody over there just tells you how to fix your toe. That just you got everything you're looking for on that.
Yeah, I'm a truth seeker and have been that way for many years. So anything I see that looks like it's not going to be made mainstream
Yeah,
gets in the chat room.
yeah, that would be good.
I post a lot of right now, I post a lot of light worker messages because they reveal a lot of truth that you just don't get anyplace else.
Yeah,
So that's a good source of information, but you got to use discernment. And I do have that discernment to be able to know, if it's a good message or not.
yeah,
And if it's projecting fear, then it's toss it out, which I don't post those, but most of them now are very loving messages. They mean well. They're coming from beings I'm familiar with, and they're actually telling us get ready. They're saying things are closed, disclosure's closed, everything's closed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's in fact, Telegram is a good. I got a page there too. I don't do much on it, but there's a lot of very influential people, and the same as even Facebook. They got a lot of health information and good place to do research. Get out of the woods, become part of an extended society. I have friends that say, I don't do Facebook, I don't do anything on the internet. Well, then just stay in the past.
Yeah,
Live in the past where you are living with all the lies around you.
yeah. Well, that's one thing good about the light worker messages is just reading them will help raise your vibration
Yeah,
because they actually embed light codes in the messages. So if you continue to read them, you'll raise your consciousness and your vibration. And that's what we all need to be doing anyway. So I do
yeah,
post a lot of light worker messages every day.
yep. That's it. Well, to go and become part of that page, as well as also kind of stay present about aliens.gov. That may be, talk about that. You found that one.
Well, it was mentioned that that was a website that was registered by the administration. So I think it's going to be a portal to, I guess, whatever the government tells us. They'll probably make reference to that website. Go there to find out what we know or what we're going to tell you. So anyway, be just right now. I don't think you can see anything. I don't think it's developed yet, but it's rumored that that's what they did is they registered that website. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be something coming down the pike, and we're going to find it and we're going to hear. But I also want to say, in the words of John de Sousa, if you wake up one day and see the sky is full of ships,
Yeah,
it just might be that fake alien invasion. So don't be afraid of it.
right. I don't think their ships are nearly as sophisticated as what the Galactics actually have. So I think it's going to be a pretty poor show if they try to do it. And the
Yeah,
Galactics have always stated that they do not see, they're trying to reveal who they are, and they don't want to be painted as derogatory in a derogatory manner. They don't want to be made to look dark. So the messages that I've read and the Lightworker messages, they say that the Galactics will shut that down as soon as before it even gets off the ground. So
yeah,
they may try to do it, but I think the Galactics are going to shut it down, or they're going to make it look so ridiculous that you will know that like they might have their ships versus the fake ones, so you can see
yeah,
the difference or something. They'll do something crazy that will just totally blow the whole thing out of the water.
yeah. Yeah, the fake alien invasion is based on holographic images
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that they might be able to. If they're going to try to do anything to make the good guys look bad, then or dark, then they're going to intervene and they'll do something to stop it because they're not going to
yeah,
allow themselves to be painted that way because they're trying to come here and meet with us and they don't want to be create any fear. They
yeah.
want us to welcome them in a way without fear.
It'll gonna be and right. See, we are down at the end of the show. So, gosh, the time went fast.
Augie, I want to mention that we're getting very close to our new financial system coming online. The QFS. That could
Yeah,
happen within the next couple of weeks. So be looking for that.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for being with us, and we'll do this again sometime.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will see you all later. And if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe if you like what you heard. And then, until next time, be good to each other.